Yo, Cultural Confederates, happy Friday. So tomorrow is Confederate Memorial Day. I thought I'd do a video about this. There's a lot of controversy surrounding this, of course, because everybody thinks that people in the South who seceded in 1861 or 1860, 1861, whenever they seceded, everybody thinks that these states were traitors. People in the South are traitors. All they were interested in was preserving slavery. But it was Confederate Memorial Day which inspired our National Memorial Day. So maybe there's a theme there that we're missing. So welcome back to the channel, Culture Confederacy. Here it's Friday, as I said. And if you're new to the channel, no fancy graphics, epic soundtracks, pretty boy camera angles. So what you see is what you get. And thank you if you're watching and subscribing. It's been a lot of fun doing this channel. Never know what I'm going to talk about. It's always a challenge to do it because I can never seem to find a place to do this where it's quiet. So I'm doing this actually in my bathroom, if you can imagine that. So pardon the echo here. So Confederate Memorial Day originated in 1866, a year after the Civil War. And this was started by the Ladies Memorial Association of Columbus, Georgia. Now, they passed a resolution to set aside one day a year to remember Confederate soldiers. An association secretary, Mary Ann Williams, sent a letter to every ladies' association or ladies' memorial association in these individual Confederate states, or states that were formerly part of the Confederacy, to join the observation. So they settled on the date of April 26th because I did a video last night talking about this, how the Civil War really didn't end for about another 16 months. So it really didn't end in 1865. It ended in 1866. You had these smaller battles that were happening out in the West, you name it. So it was Elizabeth Rutherford Ellis, who designated April 26th as a day that would be forever Confederate Memorial Day. And she did this because it was the date that General Joseph E. Johnston surrendered to General Sherman at Bennett Place. I believe that's in North Carolina. Now, the first official celebration took place in 1874 after a proclamation by the Georgia legislature. And in 1916, or by 1916, you had 10 states who celebrated the holiday on June 3rd, which was the date of Jefferson Davis, who was, of course, the president of the Confederacy. Now, other former Confederate states chose late April or May 10th as the date to celebrate Confederate Memorial Day. But historians and activists have railed against this holiday, so it doesn't, or it's not without its controversy, is what I'm trying to say here. And they said it coincided with the height of Jim Crow. But again, our National Memorial Day can be traced back to the influence, to the efforts of these ladies' associations in the South. And Union General John A. Logan, I believe it was a Union General, he was hesitant at first to adopt this for the North, but eventually decided that May 6th would be the day, or probably May 5th, 1868, would be the day to have a similar type of Memorial Day. Now, according to the Greenville News, they got an article here, May, what to know about South Carolina's controversial state holiday, May 10th. So in South Carolina, they celebrate it as May 10th. And these observances will include battle reenactments, church services, and displays of Civil War relics. They say here, quote, no surprise that South Carolina celebrates Confederate Memorial Day every year. South Carolina first to secede from the Union in 1860. But not everyone is happy about the controversial celebration intended to honor the lives of soldiers who died fighting to preserve the institution of slavery. Is that really true? How many of these people were fighting because they were trying to earn a paycheck? Like we do today. People who join the military today, they love this thing called America. They want to serve their country, and they also have a chance to earn a paycheck, maybe be able to go to college. And I'd like to remind the author of this article here at Greenville News that it was your own Christopher Gadsden, who was a brigadier general in the Continental Army, who designed the Gadsden flag, the Don't Tread on Me flag. And it was South Carolina which first seceded in 1860, but that wasn't our first secession. Our first secession happened in 1776 with all 13 colonies. We were part of the country of Great Britain. We seceded from Great Britain at a time when all 13 colonies had slavery. And in the words of Jefferson Davis, if it was all about slavery, these people in the South are just nothing but a bunch of treasonous bastards. Why would he make the following claim? We are not fighting for slavery. We are fighting for independence, and that or extermination we will have. So if you look back at 1776, you look back at 1860, it seems like the main theme here is independence, and that states are sovereign and have the right to take care of their own affairs, regardless of what the issue is. Now, you can agree or disagree with why these states seceded. We can have that debate all day long. But the point is that states are supposed to be sovereign and independent. Yes, they gave up a certain level of their freedom or their independence when we have this thing implemented called the Constitution. But states still retained certain rights under the Constitution. That's why we have Article 1, Section 10. That's why we have the 10th Amendment. See, it all goes back to the states. And without the states, you wouldn't have a federal government, because it was the states via convention who created this thing called the federal government. And they go on to say here, this is a real dig here, like the 30 by 50-foot Confederate flag seen by drivers on T-Berry Road, which has been seen, they say here, by about 80,400 people daily, the holiday has been the subject of heated debate for years. Now, this is also recognized in Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, and South Carolina, of course. And it is a state legal holiday in Florida with local observances in North Carolina. And according to the Clarion Ledger, Confederate Memorial Day is observed on the last Monday in April. This is the Clarion Ledger out of Mississippi. Now, Mississippi also celebrates Robert E. Lee Day on the same day that you have MLK Jr. Day. But Robert E. Lee was born, of course, before MLK. So because his birthday comes first, they would have celebrated Robert E. Lee first. I mean, can't you celebrate both on the same day? I don't understand this. Where's the controversy here? Mississippi also celebrates April as Confederate Heritage Month, and Kentucky and Tennessee celebrate Confederate Decoration Day June 3rd. So these dates vary from state to state. It could be in late April or the last day in April. It could be in June, or it could be May 10th. Now, I built a stop Confederate Memorial Day and change it to June 19th. June 19th, Freedom Day, died in committee during the 2025 legislative session. I believe that was in Mississippi, if I'm not mistaken. An additional scrutiny was applied after Dylan Roof shot 9 people at a black church, which I don't know anybody who was for that. Well, yeah, he was carrying a Confederate battle flag, or he had that Confederate battle flag in his picture. Yeah, he was also wearing, a Nazi uniform? The guy's mentally screwed up. I don't think the issue is the Confederate battle flag. I don't think it's Nazi symbols. I think the issue is this guy was screwed up. That's the issue. He's got mental and emotional problems that were probably never dealt with. As well as, of course, the case of George Floyd back in 2020. We all know about that. But what does a Confederacy or Civil War have to do with what happened in 2015 with Dylan Roof, going to this black church, South Carolina, shooting and killing 9 people? Absolutely nothing. Was it have to do with George Floyd? Absolutely nothing. And George Floyd, the incident with George Floyd happened in Minneapolis. It didn't happen in a southern state. Should you take down any symbol representing Minneapolis now? Any symbol representing the state of Minnesota? I mean, seriously, this is the logic of these people. I think that these states, southern states, wherever, if they're wanting to celebrate a Confederate Memorial Day, let the state vote on it. Let the voters in that state decide if they want to have a Confederate Memorial Day or not. But the idea that Southerners were traitors when we seceded from Great Britain in 1776 and all 13 colonies had slaves or slavery, I don't buy that. Sorry, I don't buy it. And one of the beauties of being an independent colony or a state is that you have the right to say, screw you. See you later. I'm out of here. If you're not going to protect our rights as citizens. That was the argument in 1860 as it was in 1776. So I don't think there's anything wrong with a Confederate Memorial Day as long as it's done for the right reasons. But I'm just laughing here at this, this article over at, let me look at my notes here, at Greenville News. Greenville News. Controversy because it honors the lives of soldiers who died fighting to preserve the institution of slavery. But if you read the CSA Constitution, there were way more issues out there besides slavery. You see, it all came down to a constitutional argument. And surprisingly, it was the same argument they were having back in 1776, because it's always been how much power should the central authority have versus the states. In the words again of Patrick Henry, do we want to be a union of the people or a union of the states? In other words, does the federal government, does it represent everybody or just its own interest? Or do we want a union where we focus on preserving the rights of the people who live in these individual states? So I thought that I'd share this with you today. Thank you for letting me stumble my way through this. As I said, I've got some background noise I'm dealing with here, doing this in my bathroom. So it is a one-take video today. It is what it is. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. Follow me at Instagram, hashtag Jason Composes, because I write music in my spare time. You can go to X, Culture Confederacy, at Culture Confed1 on X. Find me at Substack. This is the Culture Confederacy saying peace out. Stay safe, everybody. God bless this thing called the United States. I'll catch you next time, and you all have a great Friday. Take care.